So hello and welcome to Skills at Home, a series of events designed to explore skills that you can build at any point, whether over a vacation period or around your studies. So I'm Barnaby Mollett, I'm a careers consultant at LSE Careers, and today we are very lucky to be looking at entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial skills. And I'm joined by LJ Silverman, head of LSE Generate. So LJ, can you just give me a bit of an introduction about you and your work?
Sure, yeah. Thanks, Marvy. Thanks for having me on Skills at Home. I've been running the Entrepreneurship Centre at LSE Generate here at the school for a few years. It's very much a one-stop shop for all things entrepreneurial. So whether you have a tiny seedling of an idea that came to you overnight and you want to kind of investigate that further, right up until the point where you're looking for a first or even second or further round of funding. And the idea is that the hub is able to support you at whatever stage you are in your entrepreneurial journey. And we do that through mentoring, through quite a jam-packed events program. And we run treks both here in the UK, but also internationally. So kind of to get a feeling of what the other entrepreneurial ecosystems look like, either mature or emerging. And we run funding competitions. We have a brand new shiny accelerator that launched halfway through 2020. And that basically enables the bright and bestest entrepreneurs to receive an intensive training course with the aim of them being investor ready at the end of that. So it's a really exciting, vibrant, very much student-led community, and we invite students and alumni. There's no cap on alumni and sometimes staff, if they're lucky, to get involved and really just explore entrepreneurship as a viable career path.
Thank you so much. And I guess not everyone considers themselves an entrepreneur, but why should students learn entrepreneurial skills?
Sure. So I'm obviously biased because if they don't learn it, then I don't have a job. However, I am quite passionate about students learning or developing, I think is probably a better word, entrepreneurial skills. I think even if your aim is not to start up a business or join a startup or scale up, what is really clear is that every employer, whether it's a SME or an enormous multinational, they will be looking for enterprising skills. And so it is crucial in this stage and kind of looking at the future of work and everything to be thinking actually what entrepreneurial skills do I have and which ones do I need to develop in order for me to get that job or indeed start up a business. So I think it's really important to learn and understand what those skills are. I also think that, and again, I'm biased, but I do really feel that it's important for students to learn these skills because startups are essentially job creators. They are wealth creators. And I feel that the need to develop specific entrepreneurial skills cannot be overemphasized, especially at the time of recording where we're halfway through a global pandemic. But what is really evident is that it is the most agile of the workforce and the ones that can think on their feet and adapt and don't mind taking risks. They are the ones that are going to survive and indeed thrive in difficult situations. And it might not be a pandemic, but it might be a situation that has come out of the blue that was unexpected. And if you can't innovate and if you can't think in that really creative way, then it will essentially hold you back. So I feel quite passionate about the importance to develop those skills.
Brilliant. And how exactly can students go and develop entrepreneurial skills?
Yeah, again, really good question. Obviously, joining the Generate program is one very important way of doing that. But I think what is important to recognise with entrepreneurship is, it's really crucial to get the theory and the kind of technical information nailed from the beginning to understand that. But I think what is then important is to really understand the softer skills. So things like resilience, confronting fear of failure, managing the highs and lows. And it's a really big question, how do you develop that? A lot of that is just through maturity and actually going through the process of starting up a business. There are so many learning experiences to be gained from that. But also just getting involved in an entrepreneurial network. Everyone says that LSE is one of the most one of the best things to come out of LSE when you graduate is the network that comes with it. So really do tap into that network, meet as many people as you possibly can that are either entrepreneurs or advisors on entrepreneurship or investors, and ask them all the questions that you don't know. There's never a wrong question apart from the question that you don't ask. Join funding competitions, even if you don't think, or you're concerned that you might not win that competition. The actual exercise of going through that competition, where you write a business plan or you record a film with your idea, or you enter into a dragon's den, all of those experiences will contribute to your kind of overall understanding and development of those skills. And so I think that's really important. I think as well, when you go to university, it's important, and when you go through the university experience, important to, yes, look at the experts, so the academics and the professionals that are teaching and educating you, but there is so much to learn from that kind of peer-to-peer piece as well. So if you're working in a co-working space, for example, or just going to a networking event, be really brave, step outside your comfort zone and talk to people who are going through the same as you, because they might be able to provide you with, I don't know, an accountant that you can speak to, or just an experience that they've gone through, which is maybe kind of a few steps ahead of where you are at the moment. So again, I think it's difficult when at the moment we don't have that physical community to talk about networking, but there are so many ways, thanks to technology, that we can reach out. And so if it's not on campus, it can be via Zoom calls or online networking events. But again, thinking really entrepreneurially as to how you can be an entrepreneur, I think that's key.
Great. And we know that you can't just develop new skills overnight. So what should students be looking to aim for in just the initial few months of learning?
Yeah, that's really key. They definitely can't be developed overnight, and so that should hopefully take the edge off. I think a lot of students can get quite anxious as to kind of how can I be an entrepreneur? I've got an idea, and that can indeed happen overnight. You can wake up in the morning, you can go out with your friends, and you come up with this brilliant idea. But the development of those skills to allow you to build and scale and succeed with that business is definitely not going to happen overnight, and potentially not even during the time you're at university. You have a whole load of other commitments at university, and it's important to remember kind of where your priorities are. But what you can do along that university journey is to be thinking about things like market testing. So speaking to family and friends and telling them about the idea and saying, well, would you use it? And working out where your target audience is. Also listening to podcasts, kind of keeping on top of the current trends is really, really important. Knowing where investors are looking to put their money, knowing where the market gaps are. And even though you don't become a specialist in this area, it gives you an enormous amount of confidence to know what the specialists are saying. And that also applies to the technical skills. I think the social sciences university often has that as a gap in their offering. So how can you develop those skills? Yet you might not be a developer, but just to be able to speak the language of a developer, again, enables you to have that confidence, and also enables you to speak to investors about what you are hoping to build later on, and not even investors, just people that you want to entice to join your team, or just people that you want to potentially see as clients and customers later down the line. So I think it's, again, being brave, going out, speaking to people, testing things, doing focus groups, surveys. And that will be the question that people ask when they consider trialing your product or buying your product or investing in your product or service. They'll want to know, who have you spoken to? What do they say? What is the feedback? Also have your numbers ready. You're not going to be able to project how much money you're going to turn over in the next 5 years, especially during up and down periods as well, and economic downturns. But what you can do is be able to project the next 6 months or 12 months, and just have those numbers at the ready. I think detail is really important. Sometimes entrepreneurs can be extremely idealistic and passionate, and are very infectious in terms of conveying that enthusiasm for the business. But you need to also have the other side of that, which is the attention to detail, and the figures and the data needs to be there.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And then the final thing I'd like to ask is, what sort of single piece of advice would you give to someone starting out right now, having watched this, to try and develop their entrepreneurial skills?
Oh, single bit of advice, that's tough. There's so much I could I could offer as kind of top tips, but I think it all goes back to the kind of genesis of a business and this idea of your passion. And again, it's such a cliche, this passion, it's overused, and but I think it is really important. Like, what is it that gets you out of bed in the morning? And if it's not the problem that you are trying to solve, then you're probably not in the right business, or creating the right business. Because what needs to happen is, when you are going through a tough time and when you aren't seeing business move forward in the way that you were hoping, and when sales are stalling or just completely stop because of whatever reason, you have to still have that drive. So in terms of developing the skill set, I think it's being quite mature in your understanding of why you're doing this. So going back to not letting yourself get ahead of the game. And yes, it's exciting to think about where this might be in 5 years, and it's great to have that dream, but you need to be sure and confident that what you're doing is something that really does get you out of bed and just keeps you going. And I think as well, if I can have one more bit of advice, is that it's important to talk. And I think I mentioned that in the previous question, but one of the failings of entrepreneurs, especially early stage entrepreneurs, can be a real fear of sharing their idea, and thinking that someone may copy it, or may just not consider it as a viable business, and that will affect then your motivation. But I would say, if anyone has that business idea, they probably would have already done it already. You're probably further ahead than them, and the benefits of talking and sharing far outweighs the potential dangers of that. So again, it all goes back to being courageous, being brave, and taking risks. And if entrepreneurship is for you, that kind of risk taking piece is a really exhilarating thing, and will hopefully allow you to start those conversations. But yeah.
Amazing. Thanks so much. So thank you, LJ, for giving us an introduction to learning entrepreneurial skills and becoming an entrepreneur. Check out our other videos in this Skills at Home series for more skills that you can learn at home. If you have any questions, you can email us at careers@lse.ac.uk, find us on social media at LSE Careers, or book a one-to-one appointment with any of the careers consultants or our team to talk about your own skills development. Once again, thank you, LJ Silverman.
Thank you very much.